This video is sponsored by Surfshark. More from them in a bit. Recently, I made a video about ocean living, kind of a history video, but I stopped around the mid-20th century because around this point, people actually started doing like science stuff. Now, to be honest, I don't really feel like diving too deep into the history of Cousteau's Conshelf projects and Sea Lab and all that other stuff. Look, there were a lot of efforts, legitimate efforts made to prove that people could live underwater. But I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm here for the stuff that failed, the weird stuff. Today, I want to focus on, like, under the ocean, deep ocean. I will not be mentioning sunken cities, no floating cities either. I'll save all of that for some other day. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to be straight with you here. Bad people want to do bad things to you, and Surfshark can help you protect yourself against some of those people doing some of those things to you. Public Wi-Fi, disgusting place, all that data just flowing around. It's a goldmine for degenerate criminals looking to steal your personal information. Do not give them the satisfaction. In Surfshark, VPN keeps your data safe from cyber hackers and large corporations trying to make a quick buck off ya. Surfshark lets you change your location virtually. You can watch movies and TV shows that are not available in your region. Sounds pretty cool, right? Surfshark does not monitor or track your information. They don't care. They don't sell it to other people because that's wrong and bad, and Surfshark is good and right. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk to trying it out. You should try it out. Try me out. Use me. Make sure to use the link in the description and enter the code KNOWLEDGEHUSK to get up to 6 months for free. First off, we got 1964's World's Fair, General Motors Futurama 2 Pavilion. Look, GM was pretty well known for doing wacky things at World Fairs, but this specific World's Fair, I don't know, it seems like everybody was just really into the ocean. A part of Futurama 2, there was a series of predictions for the year 2024, including an underwater hotel. Well, not just an underwater hotel, underwater civilization, underwater mining for minerals and gems. There would be trains of submarines transporting goods, all topped off with the crown jewel here, the not so creatively named Hotel Atlantis. Now look, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't the coolest building ever designed, because clearly it is. Maybe the size of the hotel is a bit tiny, a little impractical. That window seems like a safety hazard. If constructed, this ocean spiral off the coast of Japan would be the tallest structure ever made. Yeah, sure, it's underwater, so it wouldn't look that tall from the surface, but at a height of 2.8 miles, this is what it would be compared to the other tallest buildings in the world. It is a bit ambitious, but to be fair, most of this livable space is constrained within a giant 1,600-foot glass sphere. That's one big ball. This concept was created by a Japanese construction company, Shimizu, and it could house 5,000 people, which is more of an underwater village than a city. But even still, it would offer all the accommodations you might want, and of course, it is entirely self-sufficient. How does it get power? Simple. Uses microbes under the sea that naturally convert CO2 to methane. Bam, bada, boom, they make it work. This giant spiral can generate electricity just by using the difference in water temperatures between the top and the bottom. Okay, so the point of these concept buildings is not to be realistic. Like, obviously, it's pretty unlikely that this alone could supply power to all 5,000 residents in an underwater city, but it's just a concept. Don't take it too seriously. This was a planned underwater hotel in Dubai with all the wackiness you'd expect from an underwater hotel in Dubai. This was actually planned back in 2005, and while it was only going to be about 60 feet beneath the ocean, great care was considered in offsetting the pressures you would encounter. Unlike a lot of the other things that I'm going to list on this list, there was a genuinely decent chance that this could have been made. Not really an underwater city, just an underwater hotel, but featuring 220 underwater suites. Gonna cost you about $5,500 US a night. Features 3 bars, 3 150-seat restaurants, a retail area, movie theater, plastic surgery center, and a library. Why would you have a plastic surgery center? Either way, it turns out that the original planned location just wasn't suitable for the whole underwater thing. So delays happened and it was eventually canceled. Underwater hotels really seem to be the go-to underwater planned structures. And I imagine this is because most people just don't want to spend all their time underwater. Think about it. If this is what you see when you look outside 24/7, it's gonna make you kind of weird. Something about the confined spaces, the lack of light, the constant threat of depressurization, it's gonna do something to a man. Now, some people, even now, do spend a lot of time in these conditions, but it's not like something that the rich and wealthy are really yearning for. And these are the kind of people who would be able to afford these permanent underwater settlements. Hence the hotel. Now, this Poseidon undersea resorts company kind of confuses me. The website makes it seem like this was well into development, if not on the verge of being completed. You can even sign up for reservations right now, but I can't help but notice the web design. Feels like it was ripped out of the late 2000s, right? All of the images of the hotel are CGI, which doesn't inspire too much confidence. But hey, you can buy some merchandise. So apparently the last update was made in 2013 when the company promised development on Poseidon 2. Because there was just so much demand for the first one. This seems to be all part of a side project for Triton Submarines, a real company that builds fancy subs. All that strangeness aside, the size and scope of this project is not as wacky as H2Ome's, but the fact that it costs $30K a week to stay there is probably gonna put some people off. Not a ton of rooms, but some fairly good looking accommodations, I guess. Not a ton of polygons, some baked lighting, but maybe that's part of the charm. A lot of these underwater projects were started by submarine companies, which makes sense. They'd be the most qualified to handle something like this. But as far as I can tell, it never seems to go well. US submarine structures had their own grand plans for underwater living. In visiting their website, it also seems like it hasn't been updated in a while. H2Ome. Yeah, that looks familiar, right? Yeah, that's the same picture from the Poseidon Hotel, but they just cropped it to remove the watermark. Is it what was going on here? Oh, it's another side company from Triton Submarines, from the same guy. He was quite ambitious in the early 2010s, it seems. Looks like the pricing's going for about $12 million a house. But I don't know, maybe that's gone up with inflation. The commercial section of this website really tells you what it's all about. The idea seems to be the novelty of just being underwater. That's it. You want to have the first bank underwater. You're gonna get a world record, you know? First McDonald's underwater, wow. Do you remember that infamous project of artificial islands in Dubai called The World that never really saw much development? Well, in the heart of Europe, there was plans to construct some underwater stuff. The floating seahorses, which would have had partially submerged underwater living. This feels like cheating, you know, I don't know. This is not Sea Lab. This is just a normal house with a damp basement. Some projects are just environmental messages rather than genuine predictions or plausible concepts. They usually lean really into the self-sustaining nature of these underwater structures with an emphasis on alternative energies. Talking like make energy from microalgae, build the structure from garbage, 3D print ocean garbage into this. Also, money doesn't exist in these places. Ocean communism! There's no more need for coal, oil, gas, or nuclear energy to get light. We reproduce bioluminescence in the double glazing of our apartments thanks to symbiotic organisms that contain Get a job. This is probably the worst concept I've come across by far. And I think it's because of a language barrier, or a culture barrier, or a reality barrier. We are announcing the world's first global t-shirt and our future ongoing raffle designed to save the global warm water coral reefs and fund the underwater hotels for the global winners. They announced their intentions to partner with Elon Musk so they can, quote, combine outer space with inner space. I didn't realize that business proposals worked that way. You just say you want to partner with somebody and it's good enough. So here's the company's plan. They lay it out. They lay it all out. Here's our deal for all Americans and for all others too. 1, buy the expensive t-shirt. As for that Greenpeace hippie crowd, they got you covered, don't you worry. Our program will raise more coral reef restoration funds than any known coral reef funding program, including the United Nations or any USA-funded organization combined. Our global program includes the Chinese. Once again, huge thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Make sure to use the link in the description and enter the code KNOWLEDGEHUSK to get up to 6 months for free.